Just a couple of days away from the tax deadline, hopefully all of our tax preparations are underway and almost finished, and our worries are aside. If you are one who is planning on doing or setting up a business, you need to make business plans. After all, proper planning prevents poor performance. For business planning, your friendly CPAs are the right person to consult. More on business planning from our Chief CPA of Accurate Records and Tax Services, Mr. Adil Baloch. The moderator here with Mr. Baloch is Attorney Ramesh Khurana from the Khurana Law Firm.
I am Ramesh Khurana, attorney at law. I have my office in Gaithersburg, Maryland. Today, I have great pleasure in having a panel discussion about a topic which is the business plan. Business plan, of course, we know is very close to the heart of businesses, whether these are startups or old ones. First of all, let me talk about Mr. Adil Baloch, who is a certified public accountant, and he is also a certified tax resolution specialist, and he has his office in Gaithersburg, Maryland. Of course, you know this face very well by now because already I asked him questions about 6 or 7 sessions prior to this. Let me welcome you, Mr. Baloch.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
And today I am really privileged to welcome Daniel J. Wright, Esquire. Now, he is an attorney of great capabilities, I must say. How do I say? Because in one of the cases, about 8 years back, he was my opposing counsel. I was so much impressed with his ethics and dedication to his client that we became friends from that day. And I have referred so many clients to him, and in most of the cases, you delivered, Mr. Wright. Welcome to our studios.
Thank you, Ramesh.
Now, I'll call you Dan. Now, Dan has more than 3 decades of experience. To be exact, he has 36 years of service to the community. He is a professional of very high level, and he has been providing dedicated and professional services to our community, including most of the issues. And especially, he knows what is Indian food, authentic Indian food. We have gone out for lunch several times,
That's right.
and he has always enjoyed Indian authentic food. And his focus area is family law and those kinds of cases which are highly contested, including custody of children. And most importantly, he is a defense lawyer. He has handled all kinds of cases relating to criminal law. So welcome to our studios again.
Thank you.
Now, as I said, our topic of discussion today is business plan. Of course, this is your subject, and we are here to help you and supplement your efforts. Now, it is said that business plan is of great importance to all the businesses, because business plan would list what are the goals of the business, and whether these goals are attainable or not, and if these are attainable, how these are attainable. Do you agree with this statement,
Absolutely.
Mr. Baloch?
Yes, absolutely. Business plan, the fact that, first of all, I'm sorry, I'm just going to take 10, 15, 20 seconds, but let me welcome Dan to
Thank you,
GTV as well. Dan, as I've worked with Dan over the years, have seen him do a really good job in multiple instances, and he is, what Mr. Khurana said about Dan is absolutely correct.
We have seen him in action.
We have seen him in action, exactly. Both of us have seen him in action. So welcome to the show. Business plan, I call it that I have a mission and I have a vision to execute that mission. Basically, business plan, you start that with a mission statement, what my mission is, what exactly I'm looking to achieve. And then you tell your story, your vision, you describe your vision on how you are going to achieve that mission. And the rest of the business plan pretty much builds upon that mission and the vision on how you are going to get from point A to point B. Last time, we did touch the business plan subject, some basics of it as well.
just some basic issues.
So we
yes.
did talk about exactly what the business plan being the roadmap of a business, and we discussed about how important the business plan is, even for either for an existing business or somebody who's looking to come into
Starting a new business, yeah.
or somebody who has already been in the business field and they have multiple ventures that they have going, and then now they want to start something new. Those people who are experienced and who have been in this field, they understand the importance, and if they have multiple ventures, you will see those people have a separate business plan for each venture because they know the importance and they know that this is my constitution, this is what I'm going to follow if I were to follow my plan down to the T.
So, Bishop Loach, I like when you say that it's a kind of mission statement of a business, like what the business would like to achieve over a period of time, and what kind of message it wants to give to the bankers, investors, and partners and employees. There is absolutely no doubt about that. Now, could you please tell us what is so important in the business plan for the investors? Let me just interrupt you for a minute. Dan, you please intervene or give your thoughts whenever you feel like. Just jump into it.
Okay, I'll do that.
Yeah.
Good. Sure.
So the importance of a business plan, and I think I had mentioned this, and I'm glad you're bringing this point again, because I really would like to reiterate it as many times as possible. Whenever I get the opportunity, I bring this up. I have seen people qualifying for SBA, especially SBA loans, qualifying for SBA loans with no collateral, just because their business plan was so solid, it was so strong, they knew exactly what they were going to do, they had it all planned out. The management team section of the plan was exceptionally strong. They had their projections. They have everything laid out the way it is supposed to be. When I say the way it is supposed to be, there are certain things that the banks and investment companies are looking for in your business plan. And everything that was laid out on that business plan was exactly what a typical bank or an investor would be looking for, which would be the roadmap that gives you a clear way of a passage of how are you going to get from point A to point B, and what will it take to actually get there.
I've heard it said that every business has a plan, but some businesses just don't know what it is. Do you know?
That is also a plan.
That's also a plan.
What percentage of businesses do you think actually have a business plan?
That's
a very good question.
Good question. Now, here's the thing. If businesses were to come up with a business plan just on their own voluntarily, I would say probably 5 to 10% maybe.
Yeah.
You do not think about the business plan unless you actually have a need for it. You walk
Right.
into a bank and you say, I'm looking for expansion, or I have an idea, I want to execute it, I'm looking for capital. That's when they tell you, hey, you have a business plan. It's like, okay, so what is the business plan? And then they understand what a business plan is, and they learn, and then they try to create it. And so very few. And that, we were talking about 85% of the businesses going out the door in 3 to 5 months, 3 to 5 years, in the US. Poor planning is actually not having a proper plan in place is one of the topmost reasons why businesses go out of business.
Okay, let me ask you one more question. Now, when we are talking about the business plan, you did talk about the projections. Now, when there is an existing business, there is a track record. And when you give projections for the next 3 years or 5 years, so you can make an educated guess whether your projections are realistic based on the track record or not. But when it's a new company, and this company has to approach the investors for inviting equity or loans, or going to the bankers to raise loans. So how do you make sure the assumptions on which the business plan has been developed, whether those are realistic assumptions or not? In your experience, can you please tell us?
That's actually a very good point. If you look closely at every single, and obviously we do not have the time to get into the details of every single part of the business plan, but if you look at the business plan, every single section of the business plan, going from the product to your service to your management team to your strengths, so your SWOT analysis, your strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, your projection, how you're going to market the product, your plan of execution, all these things, they actually talk a lot about the business idea or the model itself. It talks about how you can put everything together, and does it make sense to have an engineer opening up a gas station? Those are the kind of things you're trying to address from a business plan. And if your business plan is actually backed up with these kind of facts, everything is based on fact, You have your plan, this is your product, you have a very clear idea what your product is, you have a very clear idea on how you're going to launch it, you have a very clear idea on how you're going to support that launch, you have a very good idea on how you're going to follow that through, and your projections actually back that up. That business plan is as good as any other business plan for a business that's been out there for 10 years.
Well, how important is it to have explicit goals and milestones in a business plan, in terms of income and sales?
That, I believe that would probably be the most important part, because if you're going to an investor,
Yeah.
they would like to know, how soon am I going to get my money? How much is this business capable of paying my money?
Yes.
How soon and how much, and what kind of return I'm looking at mine.
ROI and IRR, internal rate of return.
At the end of the day, that becomes the most important part of that business plan.
Now, do you recommend that companies, once they have a plan, follow through and go back and review it and make changes to their strategy based upon how they are operating on that
Absolutely,
plan?
that's actually.
And then the question would be, sorry, when you
That's
answer
okay.
it, now let's say you have already submitted the business plan to the banks for raising your loans. And now you are reviewing your business plan after 6 months, depending upon what achievements you have made so far, and you want to make some changes. Should you advise your banks that you are unable to achieve your goals, which were set forth in the business plan? Or how would you respond to the request from the bank that please give us your worksheet up to 6 months so that we can compare what were your projections and what are the actual achievements?
Yes, actually, that's, both the questions, but absolutely correct. What you need to do is you need to be realistic, objective, upfront, honest, as much as possible. As soon as you find out that the projections are not going the way they were expected, yes, absolutely, communicate it so you can make the adjustments. Obviously, it's not practical for anyone to shut everything off and go home. Obviously, you will make adjustments. You will make sure that you're making the right changes to get back on track and then reproject everything. Maybe now it's going to take you a little longer than what it did before. But if you set the expectations right, you manage expectations appropriately, I don't think there's anything wrong with the overall business model or the business plan. So yes, when something like that happens, the best thing would be to bring it up as soon as possible, reproject everything, and then get back on track as soon as possible.
I agree with you, because most of the times you can give proper explanations to the financial institutions that when these projections were made, these were realistic based on certain assumptions, but certain assumptions have not come true over the
Correct.
period of time. Maybe there was a change in law, or maybe the competition of that particular product that increased.
Correct.
So if you are explaining all these reasons to the financial institutions, I think they will be appreciative of all these factors, and you justify that this is the reason of our failure or partial achievement, but this is how we want to do in the next 5 years.
Absolutely correct.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah, you also have to keep in mind that that financial institution has an interest, has a stake in your business. So they're really your business partners, and they would want to see things go the right way as well. So when you discuss it with them, maybe they're able to help even more. Maybe they're able to do something
Yeah.
that you might not
Can a
be.
businessman make his own plan, or does he need help from people to do it?
If the businessman is knowledgeable enough, experienced enough, they know what the financial institutions will be looking for in the business plan. They should go ahead and do it on their own. But at the end of the day, if this is something they do not do on a regular basis for a living, and just from that perspective, that I will present something that is definitely going to get approved, then they should, even if they put it together, they
Yeah.
should still have a professional at least take a look at it and then take it to wherever it needs to go to.
Now, we are just left with 1 minute, as the cameraman is indicating. Just last question. Now, how comprehensive this business plan should be? Can it be a short and sweet document, or you want it to be a very detailed one?
It will depend on what you're looking to do. As you know, these days, SBA.
There's no thumb rule.
No, there's no rule of thumb, there's no set rule. As you know, I mean, up to $25,000, SBA will approve your loan in 24 hours. You really do not need an elaborate business, because no one's got the time to review it in 24 hours. So in that case, you probably will just fill out a couple of sheets and just plug in the numbers and take it from there. But if you're looking to do a good, solid, maybe multinational venture, obviously it will require, anything worthwhile takes time and effort. So basically, that's what it comes down to.
Great, time is up now. I would like to thank both of you for coming to our studios and giving your views
Thanks.
about the business plan. And hopefully, we will come back to the studio again and discuss some other topics of interest to the audience. Audience, thank you very much for being with us.